Hello? Now we got it. I can even hear me. Ready? Okay. A short history of the Chickamauga people. Oh, that's much better. The Indian people known today as the Chickamaugas of Arkansas and Missouri have a long and significant history. Prior to European contact, the Native Americans that would become known as the Chickamaugas lived in villages in the mountainous areas of North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, and parts of Mississippi and Alabama. These people were not united into an organized band or villages, but were instead politically anonymous bands and villages separated by geographical and political boundaries. The Cherokees of the lower town, sometimes referred to as Overhill's Cherokees, perceived the Americans to be a true danger to the Cherokee way of existence. Therefore, when the American Revolution exploded, Dragon Canoe, Bloody Fellow, and John Watts sided with the British against the new Americans. In 1776, honoring a treaty with the British, Dragon Canoe withdrew his people to an area near Chickamauga Creek, near present-day Chattanooga, Tennessee. These Cherokees inhabited 3 towns on Chickamauga Creek, from this time forward as known as Chickamaugas. After the American Army defeated the British during the American Revolution, the Chickamaugas continued fighting against the Americans. An instrumental war lasting more than 20 years forced the Chickamauga band to disperse. One band emerged into northern Kentucky on the Ohio River, later to relocate on the White River of Arkansas and Missouri. Another band led by Dragon Canoe merged to southeastern Missouri and northeastern Arkansas. Still another band under the leadership of Cameron merged to Florida, where their descendants still reside today. The Spanish government extended treaties to Dragon Canoe's band, and by 1784, they were attacking Americans as far east as the Cumberland, and then quickly withdrawing back into Spanish territory for sanctuary and Spanish protection. After 1800, many Chickamaugas lived in the east were pushed back into the Cherokee Nation east. Those in Missouri and Arkansas were all so well established with another group led by Chief Tyagonsi. These 2 bands settled on the Arkansas River near present-day Daniela. Following the Great Missouri Earthquake between 1811 and 1812, most of the Chickamaugas residing in Missouri fled to Arkansas. The major construction new towns between the White River and the Black River in North Arkansas. Because of political friction between the established bands and these new arrivals, one band led by Chief Bowles separated and made the long trek to Texas. This band became known as the Texas Cherokee Nation. The major of these Cherokee remained in Texas until 1839, when they were defeated by Texas and forced to emerge into the Indian Territory. In 1839, the Western Cherokees on the Arkansas River signed a treaty exchanging land in Arkansas for land in the Indian Territory. 2,000 Chickamaugas who considered themselves politically separated from the other Western Cherokees refused to leave Arkansas and moved further north up the White River, back into Missouri. It is the descendants of these 2,000 Chickamaugas that comprise the White River Band of the Chickamauga Nation of Arkansas and Missouri. The Sax River Band of Chickamaugas also were historically a band of the White River Cherokees in Arkansas. One Chickamauga town, located 6 miles north of present-day Harrison, Arkansas, moved north into Missouri and populated lands that had been recently vacated by the Kickapoos on the Little Sax River, thus establishing the Sax River Band of Chickamauga Cherokees. The northern band of Chickamaugas has a different history. In the summer of 1991, the North Cherokee membership took it further into its own hands and voted to separate. The two southern bands, Sax River and White River, voted to officially separate from the North Band to Rockport, Missouri. The membership also reaffirmed Don Kuntz as principal chief, and in addition chose to adopt the traditional name Chickamauga Nation. These bands were incorporated as the Sax River and White River bands of the Chickamauga Cherokee Nation of Arkansas and Missouri, free of the political turmoil in the North Band. These young nations hope to thrive and serve its citizens well. And then I have a list. It's called the Chickamauga Chiefs. Our first chief was Dragon Canoe. Our second chief was John Watts. Our third chief was John Bowles, the one you guys know from down here. Chief Benjamin Green, Chief James Green, Chief John Henry Neal, which is grandson to Chief James Green, and Everett Harris, David Quinn, Beverly Baker, and Don Kuntz, and now it's Kay Stockton as our chief. But, and then I read this at our DAR meeting the other day, and it kind of adds some more to the connection that you guys would be interested in. It says, Cherokee beloved woman and promoter of peace. He, also known as Nancy Ward, the beloved woman of the Cherokee Nation. She was an influential leader and peacekeeper who was highly respected by settlers and Cherokees alike. Cherokees are matrilineal. Like I said, matrilineal. Oh, matrilineal. The Cherokee women didn't marry within their own clan. So Nancy started her relationship with her mother's oldest brother, Attakulla, who is Dragon Canoe's father. Attakulla was a peace chief and signer of the Trail of Tears Treaty. Attakulla's son, Tyagansi, known as Dragon Canoe, was the first chief of my tribe, the Chickamauga Cherokees, in history books also known as Overhill's Cherokees. I was asked by my tribe to paint his picture, and I have. And when I'm through here, this book has pictures of Don Kuntz, pictures of Dragon Canoe, and of a flag that the tribe had Gary and I made. But there's a little short story I want to tell you. I've drawn and painted all my life and didn't know what to do with it. I just, you go to history books and get a picture and paint it, like, big deal. I mean, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to outpaint somebody else? You know, what's its purpose? I couldn't find purpose in my painting, so I kept going away from it and coming back and going away from it. I met Gary in 1989, and he said, why are you not painting all the time? I said, I don't know what to do with it. He said, well, paint your people. I said, I do, but it doesn't mean anything to me. I don't like competition. I won't enter in a contest or nothing. And Gary said, well, paint the living chiefs. I said, you can't paint living people. You can get sued. He said, well, go talk to them. So that's what we started doing. I started meeting with chiefs and talking to them, and everything just kind of compounded, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm doing what I was supposed to do. My father always said that when we're born into this world, we're assigned something we're supposed to do. And I kept trying to figure out what was my assignment. And I now know what it is. Like, I'll give you one for instance, because we're not talking about dragon canoe. Okay, my tribe, my shaman of my tribe called me. He wanted me to paint a picture of dragon from our first tree to hang in our hall. And I said, okay. Well, then we couldn't find anything but writings. We couldn't find pictures. We were kind of like, what are we going to do? So I told the shaman, I said, I don't know how to paint. He said, well, we have this letter in our archives, and it describes him in depth. And he said, maybe that'll help. He said, I'll send it to you. Well, I was supposed to have this painted to fly back with me to the reservation because I was going to get my naming ceremony. So we tried figuring out what to do and what to do. One morning I woke up and I told Gary, oh my God, I can paint him. I've seen him. I can paint him. I got up and I painted this picture. And then this letter came. Everything they started describing about him is in this picture I painted. So, and we still don't have a picture of him. Even they didn't have a picture, they just had writing. So anyhow, I went ahead and did it. And the letter talked about things like he had pox, he had pox marks, he had a stern jaw, he was tall and slender, he wore British armament, he wore his hair in a Mohican, what else was, oh, he had a buffalo fur, wore a buffalo fur on his shoulder because he said the buffalo got rid of the smallpox that he had. And just things like that. And I had done these things in this picture. So that was the best I could do, you know. So it got painted, it got taken back to the reservation, got presented, and that was in 1993. In 2002, I believe it was 2002, we had some guests come to our motel from Edinburgh, Scotland, where this letter that was sent to me was, back up just a tiny, this letter that was sent to me, when I was reading it, I got to look at the names and stuff, and I thought, wow, I know these names. So I get out my lineage, and this letter was wrote by my grandfather, my fifth grandfather. And it was in the archives of our tribe. My family didn't know about it. But he talking to his mother, his brother, his girlfriend. He was talking to all these people, describing what happened to him when he got here in the Americas. He come to fight with the colonists against the Indians. But he was captured by a group of Indians. Then he was traded to Attakulla, Dragon Canoe's father. And he married into the tribe, and then his children married into the tribe. And that's my lineage of Indian from that site, from a Scottishman from Edinburgh, Scotland. And anyhow, in 2002, these people come to the motel, and Gary's reading this letter to them and talking about, you know, what went on. And they said, well, there is pictures of him. Go online and go to the museums, and you'll find a picture of him. I've seen a picture of him. So we sent for that picture, and I'll show you in this book when you come up, the picture I painted and the picture that we got from the museum. It's him. I painted him. That's when I knew God told me, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So I just kept burning with it. The thing of it is, we're not having chiefs anymore. They're all going to be presidents and all that. So the main chiefs are from like 70 up. So I started painting as fast as I could paint, and many of them that I painted are gone. They didn't live very long after I painted them. But it was just thing after thing that happened with different chiefs when I was doing presentations. That was so unusual. I had one down in California, Tule Lake, California, Captain Jack. Captain Jack was involved in a long, long battle, a very expensive battle, one of the most expensive Indian wars. And him and 3 others thought they could stop the military from dragging them back to Plymouth and them starving, so they decided to kill the big people that came up, and they'd get scared of them and go away. Well, it backfired, and 4 of them were captured, and they were beheaded, and their heads were sent to the military facilities for research, and then they went on to the Smithsonian. Well, his great niece out of Portland, who owns an orphanage, come to me and wanted me to paint his picture. So I painted his picture, took it to her, and she said, no, I want it to go to the Klamath tribe for the museum to honor my grandfather. So anyhow, or niece, it'd be her own. So anyhow, she said, talk to them. So I went down and talked to them, and they said, well, we have to take it through the council, and we'll have to talk about it, and stuff like that. Well, when I was painting him, I read all about him, we'd interviewed family, and when I started painting him, he had short hair. Well, in our Indian culture, short hair is you're not indignant to you. You can't go to the happy hunting grounds with short hair. You gotta have your long hair. So anyhow, I told her, I said, I can't draw him. He's got short hair. She said, can you put long hair on? I said, sure. So when I took the picture to the tribe, not knowing anything was going to happen with it, they decided to set up this big powwow for it to be presented. And when we got to the powwow, the culture specialist said, I need silence. He said, I have something to tell you people. He said, Kent Push. Thank you, there. I forgot one. Kent Push. He just kept saying that over and over. Kent Push. Kent Push. And everybody's looking at him funny, and he says, Kent Push is Captain Jack's Indian name. We have never been allowed to state his name since the battle, because he was not honored as a chief. But because I put long hair on him, from that day forward, they could call him by his name, Kent Push. So he hangs in the museum with the rest of the chiefs now. I had no idea any of that would take part. When I looked at his face, I just couldn't put short hair on him. And so when these events keep happening with these people that I paint, it has been so great. It's something that you could never buy. It's something that was given to me by God, and I love it. And that's what I spend my time doing, is helping my people and sharing stuff about them. I have 4 portfolios like that of chiefs, and they have shared things like their wills, birth certificates, newspaper clippings, things that only they could give you, stories that only they can give you. And it's all documented in these books. And when I was in Oregon, I would go to the ed programs. I went to all the Portland high schools, and I taught in the English classes about these people, because the interpretation was terrible back when they wrote about our older chiefs, and I thought it would be neat that people could learn about these chiefs while they were still alive. So while they were still alive, I was out there pumping this information, and that has been real fulfilling for me. But anyhow, I wanted to share this all with you. And I thought, when I was reading it all, I thought, it was going to be really interesting, because you guys all know about Chief Bowles. We go down and visit the grave. And Chief Bowles was from my line. And he was just one of them that broke off, went to Texas. So if you guys want to see the flag that Gary and I, this is a miniature of the flag that Gary and I did for the tribe. The great big flag is huge. I sewed them. All of this on the big flag is actually thread work done with a sewing machine. pushing the reverse and forward, but I drew the feathers and everything on this flag with a sewing machine.
That's a decal there, though.
Yeah, this is a decal.
Everybody and their dog wanted a flag after that. You win the flag, but
And then in this book I have Don Coons, and I have the flag, the story of the flag, what it all means. I have, back here I have a picture of Dragon Canoe that I did, and on back is my Cherokee birth certificate. Can you guys hear me now, or should I get back over? With my birth certificate, when you achieve something that your tribe feels that you have done to honor the tribe, it's not like, I can have a birth certificate from birth, but this is a birth certificate from the tribe. And what you do is, if you've done something that your tribe feels that has honored them, then you get a tribal birth certificate. And this birth certificate was done by the shaman of my tribe, and I went through a ceremony, which was very fascinating. You have to go out and gather limbs off the east side of trees and make a circle. And the night before, you do 100 tobacco offering bags. And in the center of this circle, you pile up your offering bags, and that's where you stand. And there's stakes for all the directions of the universe. And the shaman goes around and tells you about all those directions. And then they bring out this circle that has kind of a T look. And each section has things in it, and they're colored. And there's a stone in the middle, and they give you these sticks. And you hold them in one hand and they pray, and then you hold them in the other hand and they pray. And you throw those sticks at the rocks. And one of those sticks has to land, the blue stick, has to land on either something pertaining to your present name or your new given name. And mine landed on the fox. So that told them the name that they had spent a year working with me to come up with was my chosen name. You have to go through all kinds of things you have to do and send to them all year long before you can get your name. And my name, it's in the syllabary, the Cherokee syllabary, as well as English. It says, translate to me in English. She sees beyond the blue, blue as in sky and physical world. And he said that's because in order to paint a picture of somebody and it be them, I had to have the knowledge to see beyond the surface to get the personality out. And that's how I earned this name. And then it goes on to say, it says a bunch of other stuff in Cherokee. And then he wrote my prayer that goes with it. My prayer that goes with it, it says, may you be blessed, in Cherokee it's wrote out, Linda Sagandala Bagotisti. That's my Indian name. May your eyes ever be open to the beauty of the soul that is in all the beings of the creation. May those eyes see that bright and shining loveliness of the Creator's face, and may you have the pleasure of portraying a bit of that magnificent spirit in each face you paint in life. And may God himself, in the day of your meeting, agree that you paint him. May the cool blue of heaven ever rest your eyes, and that wind carry your mind to every shore it desires. That's my prayer that goes with my name. So I'm going to end it here, and you guys can come up and I can tell you, show you things and tell you things about what's in my book. I hope you enjoyed it.